December 9th County Council, if you'd be so kind to silence your cell phones, we'll start with the pledge and the prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight and we ask for your wisdom and your guidance in all the decisions that we make for Kosciuszko County taxpayers, department heads, elected officials, and everyone that resides and lives in this wonderful, blessed county. Lord, we also ask you to wrap your loving arms around those who are grieving, those who have lost special people in their lives, those who are ill, and those who have people serving in other places, not at home during the holiday season. We also ask for your protection for those first responders and our military who are standing in harm's way each and every day, all of them to protect us, to keep us healthy and safe. We ask all of this in the precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Welcome, Mike.
Hello, Ernie.
Since this is a virtual,
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Mike, we'll be doing roll call votes tonight. So the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of October 14th.
So move.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
October 14th.
Mike?
It's
Motion.
November.
Is it November 4th?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
November 4th. All those in favor?
I vote aye.
Aye.
Joni
State your
Truex. You have to state your name.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truex, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Browninger, aye.
Thank you. Stephen Boggs, Bell Memorial Public Library appointment.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Good.
Very good,
How are
thank you.
you?
Awesome. Thank you. Leanne Rock has kindly volunteered to be a trustee again for another 4 years. And luckily, I didn't even have to much beg. So I thought I was pretty good. She's really helped me since she's had just a skosh more time since she retired. I do junior achievement with the Tippy Valley Schools. And I had some questions about, okay, how do I work better with this child who isn't really comprehending what I'm saying? So she kind of coached me through there. So I'd like to ask for your permission to have her reappointed, et cetera. And then I thought real quick, I'll give you an update, a super small update on our big maintenance program, and that's it for me.
I make a motion that we approve Leanne Rock for another 4-year term.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Mike?
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truex, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Browninger, aye.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Luckily, we have most of the contracts out for new roof. Still waiting on some brick repair prices, though. The first one came in at over $25,000 just to do the east side of the building. So I think I'm going to have to do a couple of scratching on that. Furnaces, air conditioners. We had a very good price from New Plumbing and Heating over in is it Atwood or Etna Green? Well, but they also have an office here in Warsaw, don't they?
They do.
Okay, so Warsaw. We received a $24,000 American Rescue Plan Act grant to replace our electric sign out in front of the library. And so we only have to use $10,000 of the construction fund money that we bonded for. And a new company in Mentone is donating another $3,000 plus their work for the new sign. So that worked out extremely well, and it was exactly the sign that we needed that would fit there. Video security is going in mid-month, and The nice thing is, not only will we have furnaces and air conditioners that work, but we'll have security lighting in the building, which we've never had before. And that's it.
That's great.
Could you share who the new company is in Minto?
Oh, yeah, Ben Thornburg of Big Picture Imagery.
Thank you.
They purchased a location in town that's been vacant for, oh golly, a bunch of years, large area. So I guess he's bringing down his whole office, et cetera. Looks really awesome what they're going to do. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, if you have no more questions, that's all for me.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it. It's good to see you again.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And you
Merry
too.
Christmas. Yeah.
My understanding, Alan Teo's going to be late, right,
Yes.
Kimberly? So we're going to
Yes.
let him show up after a while. Dan Hampton.
Good evening.
Hello, Dan.
I'm on the agenda tonight to offer the items on the K-code budget. If you'll recall, during budget time, we went through a total amount for K-code, but then, as you know, in October, we have the presentation by the organizations that are members of K-code to go through the grant allocations. The figures that you have before you are the awarded grant applications that were passed by the committee of K-code, and then I offer them for your edification and approval for the allocation of the total amount that was passed earlier this year.
Anyone have any questions of Dan? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Yes,
I
so
would make a motion to approve.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Mike?
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Groninger, aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Merry
Thanks,
Christmas,
Dan.
everyone.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Good timing, Alan.
Since you're here.
We'll let you get your jacket off.
Could have timed that better, right?
Exactly.
Just think that train I missed. Hey, good evening. Appreciate being on the agenda this evening and having a few minutes. So I sent a memo, and I have copies if you need as well, but looking for a couple things. So we had, the council supported funding, about a year ago, year and a half ago, for COVID-19 relief loans. We actually have not utilized any of those dollars, so asking to, move half of the dollars toward a new program, our MedTech Accelerator program. But that would be a 3-year commitment, so looking for $50,000 a year of the dollars already approved, plus ultimately 2 more years past that. And so that's the first item. I can go in more detail about the program, but it's really a startup program to help us be able to build a pipeline of companies that would be in the medtech space, medtech industry, and help us, have more of a startup community.
I've got a quick question. I think that sounds like a really great program, but my question to you is, how are you going to identify the companies that you're going to reach out to?
Yes, that's a fantastic question. So, okay, the reason we're calling this an accelerator studio is what we're going to do is work with local companies to understand where are the needs, the gaps in the industry, and then go out and recruit people to start companies to meet those needs. So, for example, if we found out there's a need for a company doing something with virtual reality, for example, then we'll go recruit either a startup or an entrepreneur to start a company that would meet that need, and they would go through our program with us.
I'm just curious how you identify those people.
Well, so we're going to partner with a group, a nationwide group called Generator. It's a group that sponsors these kind of accelerator programs, and they have actually a network of at least a couple dozen of these kind of programs around the country, and so they can help us reach really anywhere to find entrepreneurs.
Okay, thank you.
My consideration or concern, I guess, is that I think that this is a great program and I would support this, but I would support it 1 year at a time because our council will be changing hands also, and I'm just not sure that we should obligate ourselves into the future. I would have no problem with making a motion to agree to 50,000 this year and revisit it in years coming.
Michelle, I have a question. I wasn't at the commissioners' meeting. What was their recommendation?
Yes, their recommendation was to approve it contingent on what you guys decided, because they did take into consideration and understood that this funding was going to be for 21, 22, and 23, and we have not yet passed the 23 budget to ensure those dollars were in there. So theirs was contingent on your vote this evening.
And Michelle, this money would come out of the money that we would be appropriating in those other years, as well as 22, out of the money we appropriate within the commissioner's budget already.
Yes, in the edit fund, we
Okay.
currently, in the 22 budget, we have a line item for KEDCO special projects that is 250,000. So this 50,000 would come out of that specific line item.
Okay, and then I do have one more question. How does this relate to what OrthoWorks does?
Great question. All
Are
right,
they-
so OrthoWorks has a program called ExcelLinks, right? And ExcelLinks is really a network of consultants, of subject matter experts that from the orthopedic industry who can help a company kind of get to the last step. What this does is it creates a pipeline of startups who then will be ready to work with ExcelLinks. So for example, we work with a company, again, use the example of virtual reality. Company involved in virtual reality, we work with helping get started. If they need help with intellectual property, or ExcelLinks has an attorney that has expertise in that. If they need help with regulatory affairs, they have someone on the team that has expertise in regulatory affairs. So it really helps, we just pass the baton right over to ExcelLinks.
So you're kind of the engine and they're kind of the caboose, basically?
Sure.
Okay, simple terms.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Alan? Okay, we have a motion on the table.
I'd like to second Joni's motion in regards to making sure that we do this year. And, take a look at it, because obviously we can't project the budgets for the following years, so.
Okay,
Mike, did you say something?
I think he said so moved.
Oh,
Oh,
Well, yeah, well, I was gonna second.
okay, Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truitt, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Groninger, aye.
All right, excellent.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
And one more item.
Yes, sir.
So this is for discussion, of course, but so mention that the commissioners and council had put together $100,000 of the special projects budget for COVID-19 related loans. We actually didn't see any use of those dollars, and I have some ideas as to why, but so we're saying let's use 50,000 of it towards this new accelerator program. You could direct the other 50,000 toward KEDCO's existing revolving loan fund. That's a fund that was started years ago with a state grant of dollars, and we've had a number of other partners put dollars towards it. It's an option, but just something that you can consider as far as using those other dollars. We are seeing interest in our traditional revolving loan fund, but we did not see interest in the COVID-19 related loans that were specific to if a business was impacted by COVID, that they could access the dollars.
Michelle, what did the commissioners do with this request? Was it under consideration that they took it?
Correct. They kept that under consideration. They were seeking more details and more information on
Yeah.
that request.
Again, for discussion.
Thank you, Alan.
Of course, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Steve, Highway Department.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mike.
Hello, Steve.
I am requesting to put in for a grant. It's a federal grant for a Bridge 123, which is on Packerton Road. It's just south of Pierceton Road. This is an 80-20 matching grant, and it's way in the future. 2027 is when this projection is to be built. It's a little over $2 million. Our portion would just be shy of $500,000, about $489,000 that we would put forth, broken up over the next 4 years if we get the grant. We're just asking to apply for it.
I make a motion that we allow you to apply for that grant and cross our fingers we get it.
I'd second that.
And I would second that motion.
Thanks, Mike.
Steve, total reconstruction of that bridge?
It would just be the deck.
Just the
And
deck.
part of the wing walls have been failing for a while, and we have band-aided them and keep an eye on them. Then simple patching, but long-term, yeah, the wing walls and the deck will have to be replaced.
Okay, we have,
Steve, is this 2 million roughly the total cost of the project?
Yeah, that total, what you see on your agenda, that's the total cost of everything. Engineering, right of way, and permitting and construction.
And those costs would be good, how far out?
We tried to project them out till 2027.
Okay, thank you.
So does that mean that you would start on this bridge if we got the grant in the year of 27?
That would be the construction, yeah. So, but it starts, like, let's say that we get
okay.
awarded it. So if we get if it gets awarded, you start in with just preliminary right-of-way field checks, environmental studies, and then you go into the design phase, and then there's the right-of-way permitting, and then the construction.
Okay.
And construction inspection. So
Okay,
there's a lot that goes into it,
thank you.
but hopefully we get it. So.
okay, we'll do the roll call. All those in favor, Mike, start.
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Groninger, aye.
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, thank you very much,
Merry
guys.
Christmas,
Merry
Steve.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Looks like we got a stand-in for the sheriff.
Yeah, he wish he had been here, but he is actually down at the academy right now for our graduation. We have 3 recruits that, so, yeah, he wish he'd been here, but we're excited for having those 3 deputies come back to work for us real soon. But I come in here in front of you asking for appropriation of funds for an amount of $3,107.50. This refunds our sheriff postal account. We recently closed our account with a postal service that we were using, and this is a refund check. This appropriation will allow us to cover our postal expenses here on out, so.
I'd make a motion
I'll
to,
make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion to second. Kim, did you have a question?
No,
Okay.
thank you, though.
Okay, roll call. Mike?
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Groninger, aye.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Merry Christmas.
Rhonda?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Rhonda?
I'm here for a salary ordinance amendment for an employee that reached her 3-year anniversary.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion and a second. Roll call. Mike?
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Groninger, aye.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
I have one more little
Oh.
thing.
Oh, wait, yes.
Can I do a little thing or can I do a big thing? I went to the AIC board meeting today and they presented me with this check to present to Rhonda out of the tracks money, where this is where money is being set aside out of people's refund that owe county money, but they have failed to pay.
Wow.
Yes.
This amount,
Awesome.
$50,864.89, Rhonda tells me is the 3rd largest amount that was received in the state. And there are many, many units, but not only county government, the AIC administrators, but not only county government. Many, many different units are able to use this, so, good job.
She's in pain.
No, you're the AIC.
That's right.
Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Awesome, thank you.
Michelle, salary ordinance amendments.
Yes, thank you. After you approved the salary ordinance in October, Wage Committee met and we had a few different circumstances arise. So at this time, I would like to present to you the 4 different instances that was discussed under Wage Committee for you to take into consideration and possibly approve. So the first change that is being proposed to you is a change in the header, and it will change the way the department heads view their employees when they reach certain levels of service. So currently, the salary ordinance says what is listed on the salary ordinance is the maximum that department head can compensate the employee, but they can go lower. So a change that was discussed, and this was evaluated with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, because we want to make sure we have a level playing field and wage equality for all the employees that work for the county. And this header will assist the department heads in understanding how to do that, to process it going forward. But the requested change states that department heads and office holders who set salaries must compensate full-time employees at a minimum step 1 higher in level. As the employee moves up in years of service, the employee's compensation must range between the current step level and their previous step level. So for an example, if you have an employee that has been here and has 3 years of service, then you can pay that employee anywhere between the step 2 and the step 3 pay level. And the compensation, again, may not exceed what we have listed on the salary ordinance amendment. So this phrase allows the department head some flexibility as far as where they're compensating their employee. So if there is room for improvement or additional discussion, it does give the department head that flexibility, but it also keeps that employee within a certain wage, so we do have that equality of wages. And would you like for me just to continue with, I'm sorry, all 4?
Yes.
Okay, all
I
right.
just wanted to say nice job
Yeah.
taking care of this.
Yes, thank you.
It's something that's kind of been on our radar for a while, and at this point, we had a few other things, so we're just trying to keep things clean and give really good direction to the department heads going forward for their employees. So the second thing that was discussed there are about 7 elected officials who several years back, when we created the 10-year level for county employees, there was about 7 elected officials that instead of receiving that 10-year bump on a biweekly basis, they received a lump sum at the end of the year. So anytime we create a lump sum situation, it is a special circumstance that we manually have to process through payroll. And then it also creates a whole nother taxation issue because there are large checks written once a year and the taxes are a little bit not out of balance, but you definitely pay more when you do receive those lump sums. So again, we had a discussion with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, and they said the way we're compensating that at this point is up to us. The lump sum is not required. So if the council so chose, we could just add that in to their annual salary and distribute it through that for 26 pays instead of doing that lump sum. And I will say that all the elected officials that this does affect, the Wage Committee did reach out to each one of them and have this conversation and explain this to them as well. And there was no opposition to this change. The third one is for the assessor's office, their level 1, level 2, and level 3 compensation. And this is another situation that we had a lump sum that was distributed once a year. So in the assessor's office, when you reach your level 1 certification, you receive an additional $500 a year in your pay. If it's a level 2, it's $1,000. If it's a level 3, it's $1,500. And that's part of their annually, that's what they would receive, and they would receive it in December. So the State Board of Accounts had done some auditing of some different counties this year, and they took exception to processing that as a lump sum. And they were requiring going forward that that be included in their biweekly compensation. But we do have to account for it separately on the salary ordinance, so you can always see this is where the base pay was, but this is the compensation that they are seeing for their level 1, level 2, or level 3. So in the assessor's office, kind of looks like a Christmas tree because there's lots of highlights with red and green. But that is because we do have to keep those separate line items identified in that way so we can always prove that we are giving out that level 1, 2, or 3 in their biweekly compensation. And last but not least, the clerk's election pay. So each year, the clerk receives $1,000 per election, and that's for her duties for being secretary to the election board. And that's another situation where it was a lump sum situation. Reviewed the Indiana code, the compensation is required, but not the way in which we administer it. So that is another situation where we wanted to remove the lump sum special event and be consistent with every other employee and just dividing that into those 26 pays and compensating that on that biweekly basis. But again, on the salary ordinance, you'll be able to see what the clerk's regular base pay is, and then she has an additional line item that explains the $1,000 per election. And many, many years ago, it was decided that the clerk would receive that each year whether we had an election or not, because 1 year out of 4 there are no elections. But to keep her salary, or that salary, consistent, that $2,000 is received every year for the clerk.
1,000?
It's $1,000 per election, and usually we have the primary and then the general. So it's $2,000 for the entire year.
Thank you. Okay,
I would make a motion to approve all 4.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. With the roll call, Mike?
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Case, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Ernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Groninger, aye.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Michelle.
Michelle.
Marcia, ARPA committee recommendations.
Good evening. I have 3 grants to present to you this evening. All 3 of these grants were presented to the ARPA committee earlier this week, and they have been passed to the council for recommendation of approval. The first one that you have is for the Public Safety Communications Project, and if you remember, we recently received the opinion from ICE Miller that the complete project for the public safety communication is eligible to be paid from the ARPA funds. So if you want, I don't know if you want to present all 3 and go from there. How do you want it?
Preference?
All 3.
Thank you,
There
Mike.
we have it, Mike.
The second one is for the Public Safety Communications Project, and this is an edit reimbursement out of the ARPA funds. What happened was that we had already started to pay bills out of edit, and there's a timeline in there that you can see March 3rd until the grant was actually established, that we can go back and reimburse edit for those invoices that were paid out of there. So the reimbursement to edit is the second one, the $522,881.48. And the third one is the ARPA committee voted to have a administrative fees. This would help to pay for any legal services or anything of that nature, and that's the third grant is $771,669.85. They decided that, you know, if something happened at the end of the life of these grants or the ARPA funds, that, you know, if we haven't used it, that could be pulled back and established in another grant for another line if needed to be.
And you might mention how that number came to be arrived.
Yes, we took 10% of the $7.4 million that we received. So to come up with this, so we have a number, and we only addressed the funds that we received this time because we don't have the other money yet to spend until May next year.
And this was the recommended percentage suggested so that you're sure you can cover all of your.
Correct.
All of your administrative costs. It's not going to any one person. This is paying a lot of different
Yes.
things.
Whatever falls under that, administrative fees. But at the top of the list is the legal fees, services, so.
And it was the ARPA committee's unanimous recommendation to approve these.
Okay, I'm sorry, Marcia. I missed something you said at the top of the list and then,
The legal services is
Thank
the
you.
only administrative fees that we have at this time.
I missed the legal services somehow, so I was wondering what you said. Thank you.
And
Yes.
are those from Ice Miller then?
Currently, that would be from Ice Miller. That's the only one we have at this time.
Any further questions of Marcia?
I would make a motion to approve all three.
We have a motion.
I second it.
Go ahead,
I was
John.
waiting for an ARPA person to second it.
Oh, yeah.
John seconded.
Okay, roll call. Mike?
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Bernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Croninger, aye.
Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Marcia.
Next up.
Next are recommendations for appointments by council. And Sue Ann, did you want to make an opening statement here, please?
Yeah, we have all of the positions figured out except two. We are still working on those. And at this point, I would like to recommend that we table them. We're working on looking at the qualifications that are required by statute for this other committee. And we're just not ready to fill those two positions and identify those people at this time. So I would move, and I think all of you have had time to look at the information. I would move that we approve the list as presented and table the other two that we're not appointing at this point.
You moved. I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Bernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Croninger, aye.
And I'd also like to thank Michelle or whoever did this, the two different ways. That's very helpful.
Any further business to come before the council? Michelle, do you have anything?
I have nothing else.
Ed, you got anything to report?
Let's keep it nice and easy.
Well, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh, wow.
I'm ready for
Mike Long, aye.
Kimberly Cates, aye.
John Garber, aye.
Joni Truax, aye.
Sorry.
Bernie Wiggins, aye.
Sue Mitchell, aye.
Kathy Croninger, aye.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to come back next year.
The recording has stopped.
Yeah. Is that what it was? I wondered. I was like, wait a minute, John, you just rolled right past me. You missed my eye.
There's a second page?
No, it's their only page.
Okay.
They have one page with them listed, by the committee, and then this page is just them listed in name order.
Same list, different name, okay.
Different
way.
sorting,
Okay,
yeah.
cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
I did have another question for you. The,